Thank you, Speaker. My question is to the Premier. In 2012, the government tried to kill the ONTC without any consultation, any planning, any policy, and it claimed that it would save the taxpayers of Ontario $265 million. What it didn't tell Ontarians was that the same budget this government allocated $325 million for divestment costs. And yesterday, the Auditor General's report outlined this. The divestment goes ahead. It will cost the taxpayers of Ontario over $800 million. Will your government once and for all admit that it was wrong and announce the halt of the divestment of the ONTC?
Minister of Northern Development and Mines.
Very much, Mr. Speaker. And my friend and colleague across the floor knows very well that the estimate of that large dollar figure is not an accurate reflection of our government's approach to transforming the ONTC. That is indeed an assessment of what the potential associated liability. And may I say, the Auditor General says that herself. It assumes the worst.
Finish, please.
The Auditor General said this estimate assumes the worst-case scenario for severance costs estimated, and then no employees would be retained after divestment. Mr. Speaker, that is not our government's approach. We are very clear about how important the ONTC is in terms of an economic development agency in northeastern Ontario. That's why we are committed to a transformation of the ONTC. Our Ministerial Advisory Committee has recognized that the status quo will not work. Everybody, I think, understands that status quo will not work, and that's why we're committed to
supplementary.
Speaker, once again to the Premier, let's talk about this government's approach to the ONTC. They announced a divestment, yet in the Auditor General's report, they didn't even bother to crunch the numbers till 4 months after. Let's talk about this government's record on the ONTC. They're scrambling once again to come up with weasel words like transformation, and you know who's left out in the cold? Northerners, seniors, the people who use the train, the customers, small business, big business. The divestment is wrong and could leave Ontario with $820 million in costs for a train that no longer stops anywhere. Is this government still planning on spending $800 million to deny essential services to Northern Ontario? Premier, is that your One Ontario?
No.
Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we are absolutely committed to seeing a sustainable, efficient, well-run Ontario Northland Transportation Commission. And may I say, Mr. Speaker, the people, our members of our Ministerial Advisory Committee, are in agreement with us on that. I've got some extraordinarily important quotes. How about this from Mayor Al MacDonald? We all agree, including the union, the management, the stakeholders, that the business model is broken and it needs to be restructured. The focus is on transformation, not divestment. Back in May, Mr. Speaker, at the Federation of Northern Ontario Municipalities annual general meeting, I publicly stated that divestment was no longer the only option on the table, and that's why we're working so hard to see the ONTC transform. It's got a bright future, Mr. Speaker. We make the right decisions. There are some tough decisions. We'd love to have your help in that regard as well, like all other people in Northern Ontario.